The Simpsons, Eric, hard transition, are growing away from us, growing away from its audience. It's been going since '89. That's 34 years, something like that.
Older
And
than any girl I would choose to date.
wow, sexist, ageist. The I think every most people universally agree after the 2000s, the early 2000s is when it went downhill. They started doing recycled bits. Blah 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 blah. When did they hit the social justice wall? Probably when they said Apu is a bad character because it's voiced by a white guy. Even though Apu's got a big family, he's successful, he's met the Beatles, all this sorts of stuff. Started going downhill during that. Now we're going.
He
I
was a
think we might be.
great songwriter as well. He wrote great catchy tunes. Like, I don't know if you remember, like,
Who needs
who
the
needs to,
quickie
yeah,
mark?
exactly, dude. I mean,
I do.
the talent is through the roof on Apu. I don't know why they don't
Yeah,
do that.
but now we got to get more social justicey. With Apu being no longer voiced by a non-Indian guy, Hank Azaria, whose voices tons of things, Mo and everything. Now, Eric, strangling Bart is too much. And they noted in a recent episode that Homer says, "See, Marge, strangling the boy paid off." Homer jokes before quickly clarifying that he no longer does that. And people pointed out that they realized that he stopped doing it. Took them long enough, Lamau. I just found out that after 30 years, The Simpsons finally retired the long running gag of Homer strangling Bart. I knew Homer was going to learn, said another person. The series has made references to the controversial interaction over the years, but still showed Homer strangling Bart up to season 31, which aired between 19 and 20. So I guess they've stopped doing it within the last 3 years, Eric.
For George
Uh,
Floyd, of course.
I
Like,
didn't even put that together. Look at those old drawings. Back during season 2022, for just season 22, since we don't label seasons by the year, an entire episode, Love is a Many Strangled Thing, addressed the issue of parent on child violence, where Homer attends a fathering enrichment class. And is traumatized after a larger man, played by Kareem Abdul Jabbar, makes him feel young, small, and terrified. So they put in a lesson, it sounds like. Homer finds out it's impossible to carry out the classic punishment on his son. So Homer learns his lesson that you shouldn't strangle your son. I don't know, Eric. We both grew up watching The Simpsons. I don't think either of us grew up thinking that it was okay for a father to strangle his son. Just like we didn't think it was okay for the baby Maggie to drive the car into the driveway. Just like we didn't think it was okay for a radioactive man to be burnt in a vat of acid. All these lessons that a 4 to 10-year-old doesn't need an actual lesson on. They feel like they have to do it now. Is it just a sign of how weak a certain generation might be? Maybe the same generation that has 20% transforming rate? Or is it the liberal adults who think it is now time, we are the saviors? What do you think?
well, I think they are obviously in cahoots with the mainstream media apparatus, right? I think, and you could fact check me on this, that they sort of dove into this realm right around Donald Trump, like whatever 2016, 2017 era. But it makes sense because they think people are so stupid. So along with how dumb the media thinks people is, like the more mainstream news media, if if we have to pretend that people are quite that stupid, then of course you have to do this too, right? So if you think people believe, yeah, a 6-year-old can transform, or if you believe that the air outside your front door is deadly, or that driving a truck is going to kill people, then you have to do stuff like this because you think that people who maybe are young parents, or I mean, who is it for? That's always a question too. Like, is it for the kids? This dog just won't. The dog waits till I start talking for him to start talking. Um, but is it for the kids who they're scared that their parents are going to strangle them? Is it for young parents who think that they can watch The Simpsons and it's okay to strangle a kid? None of it makes any sense. But I guess if you just if you just don't think about it at all, it makes perfect sense. And I actually thought I saw this headline, and I thought it was old for some reason. I thought it had like been recycled. I didn't realize this was in the news right now. And it is really sad to say, or it really is sad to see The Simpsons. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't watched it in several years, but yeah, growing up, it was a staple, and I don't think nobody thought. It's like the more access to information we have, the more they try to control it, right? So now, I mean, yeah, maybe maybe it wasn't hilarious after season 20, but to go out of your way to say we stopped doing this for what reason? It's all absolute madness, but par for the course in this for lack of a better term, clown world that we live in.
I agree in the sense that I think that the fact that they went out of their way to mention that they stopped doing it shows that they need applause, just like they needed applause for Apu to not do it. I'm reading the quote from 2017 or something to that. Oh, in 2023, Hank Azaria, who played Apu, said, though my role in Apu and what I created in Hollywood messaging, which is a big deal in this country and around the world, I helped create a pretty marginalizing, dehumanizing stereotype, which is obviously not true. As we
Yeah,
mentioned,
who was
Apu,
angry about that? It was like one weirdo comedian with a Netflix special that was mad about this. What?
it was a 2017 documentary called The Problem with Apu. Again, business owner, big family, everybody liked him. He was funny. He apparently had a cousin who sold fireworks at a different location. Indian people do tend to own convenience stores in North America, so it's not like it was a degrading thing. So they
Which makes
want
it
people to
worse,
notice.
right? The
Yes,
truth hurts them more. They hate the truth more than anything else. And I wanted to say also, there was a mention of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in there, who, if you, I mean, I don't want to call it research, but if you do a quick search, I mean, he is so far off the plot in the weirdo like vax
not his real
mandate.
name.
Well, yeah, of course, but like him trying to say that basketball players should be kicked off the team if they don't get the shot, and then he goes on and does like actual pharmaceutical commercials. I mean, he's so far off the plot, it's laughable.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring up some Kareem Abdul-Jabbar when he was on The Simpsons there. But I think my general feel on this is the older, usually white liberals. You know, of course, it encompasses everybody for the most part, but usually it's these older women who want to force their belief point on the rest of the world. And it comes across in teachers and small town governments, and of course the Nancy Pelosi's and the AOCs and people like that who say, you know, I know what's best, so I have to force. I don't want you to make your own decision. I have to force it on you. So the people at The Simpsons,
That's how they fortify the election, right? Like we have to make
whomever
sure
they
it's
may
free.
be,
Yeah.
they really want to force this upon you. And even if nobody's asking for it, they're going to go ahead and say that. Just like the teachers are going to go ahead and tell you that we don't have to tell you what's going on with your kids because we know better. The Simpsons, after this long, should realize that they don't know better, and that's why they get made fun of for things like this. That's why South Park made fun of them. Just like, you know,
Just hang it up. You guys did it. You won. You did it.
Family Guy took the joke a lot better than the Simpsons do.
Turn it up, Jordan.